Okay, hi, we're back. This is Dwanise.
And this is Juva.
And we're back with part 2 of It's Complicated.
Yep.
And what we want to talk about now is the after effects of the side chick and the side rooster. I can say from personal experience that the after effects can be, quite a challenge.
Right.
And if you've ever gone through anything like that where you're separated or divorced as a result of, some things that have happened, I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about. One particular thing that we were discussing, between the break is about side roosters, approaching you and, talking to you. And in particular type of side rooster is where they may be separated and you're separated, and the way they look at it, though, okay, you're in a situation, I'm in a situation, so therefore it's okay for us to get together. And you could probably fall for something like that,
right? Because they're saying, well, since you're separate, since we're separated, maybe, but no.
Yeah, and it's like it doesn't make it right,
No.
So. And I'm just, I believe in being real.
Right.
I've had, a similar situation where, I didn't really know that person was, separated at the time I was, and it was pretty much like that nice person, nice guy, and stuff like that. But then I found out that, he was separated. And like I told you before, I respect marriage. And I was thinking, I don't want to really date anybody without first, it's either I'm going to work it out or I'm going to be totally done with it.
Right.
And I wanted to be totally done with it before I invite anybody into my life. So I kept it at friend levels, And when I saw it getting, too complicated, that's when I would cut it off.
Right.
I would cut it off at the root because, like I said, so many people fall for those the little things. The little foxes spoil the vine is what the phrase is, and that's the truth. You may be caught up in a deceptive way of thinking because you're thinking it's okay, and I still, to me, I was still married, and I didn't want to bring in somebody else into this situation that I was already going through that was already complicated,
right?
And I would rather, like I said, be totally done with it if that's what it was going to be before I actually invited anybody into a relationship with me.
Right.
And not to say those guys that that I've met haven't been nice guys, but that's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it the right way. You know?
It's about timing.
It is.
It's
all about timing.
And and sometimes when you are in a complicated relationship, whether it's divorce or separation or talks of separation and divorce or whatever, sometimes that has to be a time where you need to get you together. You need to reevaluate yourself and finally work on you.
And you know what? And that's what God was working on me with. A lot of times when you're feeling, oh, I'm alone, and and the immediate response is to find somebody right away, to fill that void.
Right.
But I wanted to do it differently. I asked God, I was like, God, you know what? I don't want to go around it. I don't want it to be taken away from me. I want to go through it. And part of going through it is I wanted to get to know who I was, the ups, the downs of me, the good, the bad, and he's showing me some things, oh my gosh, about myself,
Right.
And I think it's very important to take the time, to really focus on you.
Right.
And to really evaluate you, because a lot of times we're rushing into, fill these voids and we haven't even dealt with ourselves. We haven't even been true to ourselves to, even acknowledge the part we played.
Right. Because we do play a part.
We definitely do. And we were also discussing about forgiveness. I was telling Juva there was a time where I was working and I was on the phone with this one lady. And I don't know why God allowed our paths to cross. And somehow we got on the subject and she was just so negative at first. And I was like, okay, but what's going on? She was like, well, can I talk to you on a personal level? And I'm like, okay, we can do that. So I said, I'm going to put my job title on the side, and we're going to talk, because she asked me to talk to her, And she was telling me, well, yeah, I don't have this and I don't have that because, you know, my ex-husband is taking this away from me. And, you know, we were married 25 years and he ended up with someone else and they're living the life, you know, and I have nothing to show for it. And, you know, she was just going on and on and on. And she was very, very bitter. And at the time, I mean, I wasn't, you know, divorced. I wasn't even separated, but it was on the verge of being separated. I knew this was going to be, you know, inevitable. I mean, there was no question about it. The separation was coming, and, you know, later on, the divorce was coming. But I saw myself in this woman as she talked. And I was like, oh, my God, I do not want to be bitter.
Right.
I'm like, and it wasn't the fact that she was married 25 years and her marriage ended. But what she told me next is what determined my whole outlook on this whole thing, and that was my journey to moving forward.
What did she say?
Oh, girl, she said she said that she had been divorced for 13 years.
Wow.
13 years, and she was still bitter. And I'm like, no, I'm like, God, that can't be me. And I like, you know what? And I was like, you know what? I said, I don't know your situation. I said, but, you know, sweetie, you're going to have to forgive. I said, you're going to have to forgive. I said, and she was like, I will never forgive him. That struck a chord in my heart also, because I'm like, really? You're going on 13 years and you will never forgive this man?
It's like, how do you move forward? How do you move forward?
Exactly. And I mean, for you to, you know, and it answers the question why she was feeling stuck.
Right.
Why
Because
she
was stuck.
Yeah, she was. And why she wasn't getting where she wanted to be in life. She's watching him prosper, so, as she would put it.
So she thinks.
Yeah, and she doesn't know behind the scenes. But this is what she's seen. She felt that something was taken away from her. And to me, she was still crying over something that happened to her 13 years ago. That is bondage.
Right.
That is imprisonment.
Yes.
And I did not want that for myself. So, you know, our conversation, I took a deep breath because I was like, God, that could easily be me. That could easily be me, because the things that I was, you know, experiencing, I mean, I could have been bitter. I just didn't want to be, you know. And what I told her next, I said, well, you know what, something that helped me, and I learned a lesson on forgiveness long time ago.
Right. That is freeing.
Right. Is it? Oh, my gosh. And what my pastor explained, because I was like, why would you forgive somebody when he hurts you? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I've never been a person that never forgave, but it was just, you know, I just couldn't understand it. The concept. When somebody hurt you, why, you know, what was God, you know, what was his purpose of saying you have to forgive this person?
Right.
It's like giving a gift to somebody who just spit in your face. So that's what I thought forgiveness meant, that you had to be so humble and you had to keep taking and taking and taking, you know, and having people throw dirt on you no matter what, but you had to smile and take it. And that's not what forgiveness is at all. It's actually, like Judah said, freeing. It is when you release it. You like, okay, God, I put my hands up. I give it to you, and whatever you choose to do with it, you do with it. You know, forgiveness, like I told her, is not for him, it's for you. It frees you. I mean, it gives you, it elevates you, and it may help you, you know, to become unstuck.
Exactly.
And that's where she was. She was stuck. So it was like a light bulb went off in her head, and all she asked me next, she said, "Can you pray with me?" And I said, "I could do that," and that's what we did.
Wow.
That's what we did.
You know, I think, especially when you talk about forgiveness and how freeing it is, I had someone very near and dear to my heart. And she had been in an extremely abusive relationship for many, many years. And long story short, they divorced, had been divorced many years. They had, you know, a child together, and you know, the child is an adult now and everybody's living life. But her ex-husband came to her and he says, you know, I just want to tell you that I'm so sorry about all that I put you through, all that I did to you. And he said, I just want to know, will you forgive me? Wow. And she says, she looked at him and like, man, I forgave you a long time ago.
Isn't that great?
Yes,
oh
because I mean, I think about this woman for 13 years just being stuck. Yeah. And it's like, and I know sometimes we get dealt blows in life. Dealing with the side chick and the side rooster, or dealing with abusive relationships, dealing with just sometimes, I don't mean no harm, sometimes we just in the wrong relationship. Sometimes we're in the wrong marriage. And I am not one to say, I mean, you know, I'm not one to condone divorce or anything like that. So don't be emailing me talking about Juva.
She's already telling you all now. Don't email her. Yeah. Don't email me either.
but you know what I mean? I mean, sometimes, you know, it's like, who ordained that? God did not tell you to marry him. God did not tell you to marry her. You know?
Yeah.
And then, you know,
we wonder why it's not working.
We wonder why it's not working. Like, what is going on? And then, but it's like, you know, once you realize your worth, because we talked a lot about that.
Yeah.
Realizing your worth, who you are,
and whose
you are, what you're entitled to, you know, then it's like you allow yourself to create real concrete boundaries.
Yes.
You know, because you value yourself. It's kind of like how you said that, hey, you know, I ain't putting up with this. I ain't putting up with that. Not like you all this, that, and the third, but you know your worth.
Exactly.
You know your worth. And when you know your worth, there are certain things that are just no-go.
Yeah.
That are just no-go. And it's like, you know, wow.
Yeah, wow. But I've learned a lot. And, you know, I always tell people, if it wasn't for the situation that I have, you know, gone through, I don't know if I would be the person that I am today. I mean, you never know your own strength until you go through something.
Ain't that true? Right.
Yeah, and it has pulled out some things in me that, oh my God. And not saying that, you know, like I said, I don't condone divorce either. I don't think divorce is something that, you know, anybody should experience. But if God allows it, and I say not caused it, but allowed it, you got to look at the bigger picture. Why? You know, why? Not questioning him why this happened to me, but why is this happening? What do you want me to see? What do you want me to learn from this? What are you trying to show me about me?
Right.
And that's the key things that you keep in mind. And he'll show you. And he'll show you.
Certainly will.
And, you know, whatever comes, whatever happens, you know, after divorce, don't be afraid. Because if you know that God has you, hey, you're good. You're in good hands. You're in good hands, you know. And it doesn't matter if he gets remarried. It doesn't matter if he ends up with somebody else. I mean, he may never come back. Or she may never come back for the guys that's going through this. You know what I'm saying? But it's okay.
Right.
It's okay. Learn from this experience what you are supposed to learn from it. Don't be a side chick. Don't, you know, trade titles now and start being a side chick or the side rooster. You know what I'm saying? Know your worth. Know your worth.
Right.
Let God use this time to develop you.
Right. And then sometimes what happens in that development stage, and God starts working on you and fixing you and mending you, and sometimes he may be showing you, I mean, you could very well be with the person that you're supposed to, I mean, you know, be with, you know, you know, so your woman stepped out on you and your man stepped out on you and he did this and he did that and oh gosh, how could you forgive that? But sometimes it's possible to be reconciled.
Yes.
I know so many men and women that have been cut and hurt to the core.
Yeah.
But one thing is for sure, you do your part.
That's right.
You do all that you can do.
That's right.
To take care of you first of all. You know, guard your heart.
Yes. Yes.
Guard your heart. And then if God is leading you to tell you, don't leave, work this out. You ask him how.
Exactly.
Ask him how. He may tell you that you may have to separate for a moment. I don't know. But whatever it is that God tells you to do, just do it. And don't be afraid.
No.
Don't be afraid. Because one thing is for sure. You're either gonna be bitter or you're gonna be better.
Amen.
Either you're gonna be bitter or you're gonna be better. Sometimes that's better staying together eventually. Sometimes that's better just
let it go.
Say it's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
But anyway, it's complicated.
It's complicated. It's so complicated.
But anyway, I know we say it's complicated, but it really, truly, it's not.
It's really
not.
It's about choice.
It's about choice.
It is about choice and knowing your worth.
knowing your worth is key.
Yes.
And if you don't know,
Now you know.
now you know. Or either you ask God and he will give you wisdom. He
That's
will
right.
give you wisdom. That is for sure. And I'm serious about that,
That's
people.
true. Oh,
You know,
yes.
if you lack wisdom, ask God and he will give it to you. And he won't resent you for asking.
No.
It doesn't matter. It is okay if you don't know what to do. It's okay if you've been together 20, 30
Yeah.
plus years and it doesn't seem like it's going the right way, or either, you know, you've married a serial cheater or whatever, or you or whatever the case may be, or you know I don't want to say he's beating your butt, but you want to make sure you're in a safe environment.
Oh
You want
my
to be
God.
safe,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you know
Oh my
you want to
God.
make sure that you get in position to allow God to fix and heal you.
That's
Because what happens, especially when you're in a family, your children see this.
Oh, they see it, and you
Your
try to hide it.
yes, and
but
your grandchildren
they
see it. They see it. Your friends see it.
I know.
And they be
They
wondering
see
like,
it.
what the heck is wrong with her? How
Yeah.
come she don't see it? How come he don't see it?
Exactly.
You know? But, you know, anyway.
And don't be ashamed. It's nothing to be ashamed about. I
No.
know a lot of women and men, when they go through this situation, they wear this, you know, this shield of
This mask.
of shame, and you
Right.
know,
They don't want to
and
talk about it.
No, and it helps to talk. I learned from this one right here that you have to talk. You cannot hide. You cannot, you know, seclude yourself. And you surround yourself with good people
Right.
that will listen to you, that they won't get tired of listening to you. You can
Right.
vent. But I always tell people to vent to the right people, because
Yes.
sometimes you want to tell everybody when you're trying to get out, when you finally get, you know, in the habit of just start talking, you want to tell everybody else, listen, even the dog, you know, hey, come on here, dog, you know, I got something to say. I got to
Right.
get this off my chest.
Right.
But you want to make sure that you're venting to the right people. People
Right.
that won't judge the other person. They won't
Right.
judge the man that, you know, that you're not in a relationship, or the woman. But they will actually, you know, hey, that might be your homeboy, homegirl, and they be like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, they're fair.
Right.
They're fair, you know, and they got your back now. But they're fair. They can still speak to that person and say, hey, how you doing?
That's right.
And really mean that person some good.
Yeah. And you'll know it because that person will like, well, you know, he or she really, they done messed this all up. But they are still compelled to pray for them.
Exactly. And that's the kind of people that I have on my team, I can truly say.
That's right.
Yeah. They prayed. They prayed not just for me. They prayed for the other person. They prayed for my kids, you know. And that's
And
a
your
blessing.
friends and your family and
Yes,
just
everybody that's touched by something like this. So when I tell people, look to be positive, look for the positive things out of something negative, you know, like this. Don't go around being bitter. Be better. Like you would say, be better. You don't want to be negative. You know, use this at a time to, you know, like to get your groove back. You know, like
Right.
Stella. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying
No,
go and get
no
your
Stella.
little- Yeah, I know, right?
Oh gosh.
Not trying to go get you, you know, to be a cougar or anything. I mean, but if that's your cup of tea, that's your cup
Okay.
of tea. But I mean, you know what I'm saying? Just get your
Right.
pep back, get your step back. You know, enjoy life. You know, breathe again. You know, and
Just allow God to just truly work
wow.
on you.
Yes,
Because
yes.
what happens sometimes is that women and men, if you, especially when you've been together for a while, sometimes you just lose yourself.
oh yes,
You know,
do,
you're like,
do.
I don't even know who the heck I am.
Exactly.
What am I supposed
know, right?
to do? And you know,
you become a title. You
Yeah.
don't become a person, you know, even though you're one, you're still individuals.
Right.
You know, and you become a title, you become his wife, or he becomes your husband, you know.
Yeah, or
and
he's the
sometimes,
dad, or
yeah,
just the mom.
And get lost in those titles
Right.
and lose yourself. And a lot of times that's where divorce and separation, you know, breeds, you know, the beginning of it.
Right.
Because people lose themselves and they figure that they have to get away and they have to get out to find themselves, when really that's not really the case. But because if you already know yourself, or if you
Right.
take the time to, you know, work on yourself, you can have a great relationship.
right?
It can be done.
It's doable.
Yeah, it's very doable. So use the time to get it together.
That's right.
Use it wisely.
Anyway, I guess this ends. It's complicated.
Yeah.
My current situation.
And we promise that we won't be, you know, we won't leave you for another 212
213
days or 213
213 days.
We will be back. We will, you know, talk about issues that are real. I mean, we love you guys. We want to make sure that we share, you know, things that we see,
Right.
things that we may be going through that can probably help you. We love what we do.
Right.
And
And inbox us. Well,
Oh, yeah.
wait a minute. No, we don't want any of the
See,
no side roosters, no inbox.
no side roosters, please. We
don't really inbox us and let us know. You know, maybe you have a suggestion, maybe something that you'd like for us to discuss and something that you'd like to talk about, something to share. We'd love to hear from you, and we thank you so much for sticking with us for these past 200 plus days.
Yeah,
and we'll talk to you later.
Yes.